Our lunch and keynote session really represents mobile health in its most literal form. We call it the doctor in your car. As we've already begun to see today, digital health technologies are transforming our day-to-day lives. What may surprise you is that digital health technologies are going to be with you when you commute to work or run the kids to soccer practice. But why would leading car manufacturers want to develop new health monitoring platforms? And what do we expect in the near future as they expand their vehicle options to help people manage their health and wellness? Our very special speaker today, Gary Strumolo, if you forgive the pun, will give us a look under the hood and share a little bit more about this game-changing advancement of bringing health to our rides. Gary is Global Manager of Health and Wellness Research, Interiors, and Infotainment for Ford Research and Innovation. That's a mouthful. He started his career at Ford in 1989, and along the way has earned 56 US patents, 77 European patents, and has authored more than 100 internal and external papers in his Ford career to date, and he's just getting started. I'd like to welcome Gary to the stage.
Thank you, and it's great to be back in Las Vegas. While I'm honored to have this opportunity to talk to an audience of fellow technology enthusiasts about a subject that concerns us all, you might be forgiven for wondering what perspective Ford, or any car maker, could possibly lend to the digital health discussion. My answer is that Ford is no ordinary car company. Driven by our corporate commitment to build great products, a strong business, and create a better world, we've begun to look beyond the traditional concerns of cars and transportation to create personalized in-car experiences that surprise and delight our customers. And helping them to manage their health and well-being is fast becoming a very important part of that total commitment. But before we look at the latest developments, I'd like to give you some insight into the way Ford has been using technology to differentiate our products. Ford's leadership in the core car and truck business has a lot to do with the ability to leverage technology to deliver on our brand promise of quality, green, safe, and smart. In other words, producing vehicles that are well engineered and built, have a modest ecological footprint, and protect the driver and passenger, all while delivering innovative solutions to everyday needs. Recent examples, such as Ford's MyKey, our cross-traffic alert with blind spot monitoring, and lane keeping systems, demonstrate that we never pursue technology just for technology's sake. It's always about enabling customers to do things in a way that's smarter, safer, and simpler. But when it comes to transforming the customer experience, Ford's most significant technological innovation of the last decade has to be Sync, our world-class voice-activated connectivity system. Built into more than 4 million vehicles since its launch in 2007, Sync is a smarter, safer, and simpler way to connect drivers with in-car technologies and their ever-richer digital lives. Sync provides the seamless integration of multiple electronic devices and allows drivers to make hands-free calls via Bluetooth, control music and other functions with simple voice commands. Since its introduction, we have never stopped building on the essential excellence of the Sync platform. The way we look at it, people are going to continue to make phone calls and use infotainment systems in their cars and trucks. Sync's job is to make sure that they can do so safely and easily, with their hands on the wheel and their eyes on the road. And our job is to look for opportunities to expand on that promise. In 2009, we enhanced Sync with My Ford Touch, adding customizable screens in the center stack and instrument cluster to deliver an even richer dashboard interface for the driver. And in 2010, we premiered our latest innovation, AppLink. This award-winning download gives Ford owners a handy way to import popular infotainment apps such as Pandora, Stitcher, and others for use on the Sync system. Thanks to its open platform and our proprietary cloud-based services, Sync is enabling us to offer regularly enhanced capabilities and services to our customers, not at the gradual pace associated with the auto industry, but at the near instantaneous rate of the consumer electronics industry. But from the standpoint of making the world a fundamentally better place, we've only begun to explore the potential of Sync. As we see it, Sync will be the keystone technology supporting Ford's efforts in the health and wellness sphere. As we explore this new frontier, Sync will take on a larger purpose, not just catering to the infotainment needs of our customers, but their broader well-being. And in doing so, Sync will effectively transform the ownership experience by creating a new kind of vehicle, one that we think of as the car that cares. Over and above the feel-good arguments, consumer research and societal trends suggest that there's a strong business case for us to explore the opportunities in health and wellness. Here's what we've learned. To begin with, while chronic illnesses are on the rise, the number of healthcare providers has remained relatively flat, which effectively limits patient access. For this reason and others, people of all ages and from all income groups are taking a more hands-on approach to their own health and wellness. For example, more people now visit online health sites than actually go to the doctor's office. Nearly 90% of internet visitors have at one time or another sought medical advice on the web. WebMD alone accounts for 360 million hits a year in its own right. In fact, health and wellness is now the most popular activity on the web after email and general searches. Take that, social media. The reasons why are not hard to understand. According to a study conducted by Pew Research, 93% say that they seek out online health information because it's convenient. They want to get the information on their timetable, not that of the doctors. 83% say it's because they can get more information from the web than they can actually get from their own doctor. And 80% say that sometimes getting this information privately is also important to them. Now, in parallel with the increasing interest in online health sites is an explosion of interest in mobile health solutions. By early 2010, medical and healthcare was the third fastest growing category of smartphone apps, with more than 17,000 available for download. And by 2015, some 500 million people are expected to be using mobile healthcare apps. Taken together, these trends point to a natural role for the automobile in the emerging digital health and wellness field. As we see it, the car that cares provides something like the ideal user environment based on customer needs. It's convenient and private. It facilitates personalized access to the information, products, and services that they need. And it's the only logical place for them to manage their health while they're in motion, or more often, stuck in traffic. And the relevance of that last point can't really be overstated. According to the US Department of Transportation, the time we spend behind the wheel, driving to and from work, grocery shopping, taking the kids to and from soccer practice, is on the rise, accounting for a total of 500 million commuter hours per week. So we may not find a better, more convenient place from which to manage our health. In creating trial versions of this environment, Ford has pursued a number of research projects that leverage the capabilities of the Sync platform to a greater or lesser degree. But they all fall into one of three categories. They're either based primarily on technologies that we build into the vehicle, products and services that we bring in using Bluetooth, or others that we will beam in from the cloud. By way of illustration, I'd like to share a few of my favorites with you now. A stellar example of a built-in health and wellness technology is the in-car heart monitor, co-developed by our European research and innovation arm in conjunction with the leading German research university. It consists of 6 sensors embedded in the driver's seat, which are able to provide real-time health information. One application we're pursuing for this technology is to create a driver workload estimate based on data collected from the sensors in combination with information about the driving environment and the driver's behavior. The car would use this estimate to intelligently manage driver stressors. For example, working with a modified version of Sync's Do Not Disturb feature, the car could route incoming phone calls straight to voicemail whenever the workload estimate crossed a certain threshold. At lower levels, this feature would allow the driver to take the call. This flexibility of response contrasts with the current version of Do Not Disturb, which is either on or off. Again, the technology is used to create a safe, convenient, non-distracting environment that lets the driver concentrate on the road. Moving on to the brought-in technologies, we're particularly excited by a new opportunity to serve the needs of our growing numbers of our customers with diabetes. According to a Gallup Healthways Well-Being Index survey, the diabetes rate increased by more than 10% in 2009, ultimately afflicting 26 million Americans. In fact, Americans are contracting diabetes at roughly double the global rate. If this trend continues, more than 37 million will be living with the disease by the end of 2015. With numbers like these, we all know someone whose life has been touched by this epidemic. Edsel Ford II's youngest son, Albert, is a type 1 diabetic. In fact, it was through Edsel Ford that we first started working on the health and wellness effort. And personally, my girlfriend's son, Michael, is also a diabetic. In other words, the increasing prevalence of diabetes is a matter more than just statistical significance for Ford. We also have a very personal stake in its control. Naturally, we were very pleased with the opportunity to partner with Medtronic, whose continuous glucose monitor holds the promise of improving the lives of diabetes and diabetics everywhere. This device shows not only the current blood sugar level, but it also indicates the direction they're trending. Both pieces of information are critical if you're behind the wheel. You need to know in advance if you're headed towards a problem in order to be able to take corrective action. If, for example, a driver is going hypoglycemic, low blood sugar, they may become confused or lightheaded, and their vision may blur. That's a safety issue not only for the driver, but the passengers and anyone else on the road at the same time. Fortunately, because the Medtronic device communicates through Bluetooth, it could be paired with Sync, giving drivers the ability to check their status with the press of a button and a simple series of voice commands. They never have to take their eyes off the road or their hands off the wheel. But what if it isn't the driver who's diabetic? What if it's the child in the back seat? He appears to be sleeping, but maybe he's going into a diabetic coma. The answer, and the peace of mind that goes with it, is just the push of a button away. Sync lets the parent query the glucose monitor and get the information quickly and safely, so you can take the necessary action or simply take a deep breath and relax. Another promising brought-in service we're looking into is Allergy Alert, which we're developing with our partners at IMS Health. IMS's proprietary mobile phone app provides the pollen level at your location, along with the asthma, cough, cold, and UV indices. Sync could bring that same capability to the car by allowing the driver to ask for the index or level he's interested in, and the vehicle would respond verbally. But ultimately, the car could respond even more intelligently to environmental conditions, automatically turning on the recirculation air mode to keep pollen-laden air from reaching the passenger compartment, or even suggesting healthier driving route alternatives. It's an inherently simple idea with the potential to change the way people interact with the world through their cars. Beamed-in products and services ratchet up the power of brought-in apps by adding cloud computing and data storage to the mix. Back in the spring of 2011, we announced a joint effort with WellDoc to extend the promise of anytime, anywhere health and wellness coaching at home and on the go to the driving experience. The WellDoc service effectively created a personal healthcare coach for people with chronic diseases, and it's the only service of its type approved by the FDA. And because much of the interaction was done through the cell phone, it was a perfect fit with Sync's connectivity and voice command capabilities. Today, I'm proud to announce our latest foray into the health and wellness research arena, the Ford Microsoft HealthRageous Mobile Connected Health Experience. It can be accessed with a touch user interface on a Windows Slate-type device or using the voice interface with Sync. This project is rooted in the work already being done by HealthRageous, a connected, personalized health management company. Using information collected from blood pressure monitors, activity monitors, and glucose meters, along with behavioral data shared by the user, HealthRageous is able to help people lead healthier lifestyles by shedding unhealthy habits. Microsoft's contribution was to translate robotic sensory information provided by the vehicle into an application that also provided voice and a touchscreen interface, while integrating biometrical data that comes from a wearable device. At Ford, we hope to leverage the Sync platform to assure that in-car use would be completely hands-free. And here's how it would work. While you drive, the system would capture biometric and vehicle data as the basis for real-time health and wellness advice and monitoring. Additionally, the driver can provide voice inputs detailing important aspects of his or her health routine, such as the number of glasses of water consumed during the day or what pills have been taken. The data received from the driver is then uploaded into the Health Vault cloud, at which point it is transferred to Windows Azure. The information is processed with other health data, which are used to create graphical reports the driver could access after having left the vehicle. We're very excited by the possibilities of the Ford Microsoft HealthRageous Mobile Connected Health Experience, which looks like a tremendous way for people to monitor and improve their health wherever they go. Whether built-in, brought-in, or beamed-in, the technologies we've been discussing are full of transformative potential, promising to change the way we interact with our cars and creating personalized owner experiences that go well beyond the limits of infotainment. But there's one line we will never cross. It has never been our intention to turn your car into a medical device or a robo-diagnostician. We're content to leave medical functions to the experts. No, in this environment, the doctor in the car is really you, the owner, who is able to access information via Sync that will help you take charge of your own health and wellness. While we're still studying these and other products and services to see whether they can be translated into a driving experience that will be helpful and meaningful to our customers, everything we've discussed today is easily within our means to implement on production vehicles. So it's not too much of a stretch to think of similar mobile health solutions as coming soon to a Ford near you. Now, as you can see, Ford is making health and wellness a long-range strategic priority. In the months and years to come, we intend to pursue healthcare partnerships that will help develop smart mobile health solutions. As an extension of our customers' lives, the car that cares is taking shape as an exciting new platform for connectivity, innovation, and transformation every bit as much as smartphones or tablets. What's more, we believe it will fundamentally broaden the way we understand automotive safety, not so much accident avoidance, as an integrated approach to ensuring the well-being of our customers. This may be the ultimate example of great products and smart business coming together to create a better world. Thank you, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
If anyone has any questions, please come to the microphone over here, please.
I'd like to also introduce my colleague, Venkatesh Prasad, and he can also answer some questions. I'll probably call on him when I can't answer them, so feel free to address us both.
Thank you. I work for the financial services industry, so my question is, we know that health and financial wellness are inextricably linked. We know, for example, that more affluent people live 4.5 years longer than less affluent, and so I'm wondering if you're also considering broadening this platform to include ways to improve your financial health.
Certainly not your financial health. One thing that might hit your bottom line is insurance levels. So obviously, if you're participating in some health maintenance programs, this would be of interest not only to your medical insurance, but also possibly to your auto insurance. And this one might be one way in which we can address things of that nature. But we also want to make sure that we democratize the technology that we have across all income groups. Ford's Sync platform was built on the democratization of technology, and we think that health and wellness shouldn't be left out of that at all. It should be an integral part of the democratization that we do for our technology so that all people of all incomes, all age groups could benefit from this work.
Thank you.
That was great, great demonstration. My name is Frank Nunn. I'm with Framework Interactive Technologies. My question has to do with the Microsoft component with the Sync and Ford as it relates to the connected home and the era that obviously goes from, the home to the car prior to. I was hoping you maybe could expand a little bit on that, maybe in any areas of interactivity within the home, the connected home, Microsoft Connect, the whole bit.
Prasad, would you like to handle that one?
Sure, the connected home as it relates to before going into the car itself through Microsoft and with the Sync and Ford before, and how it associate within the connected home prior to what's going on, anything in that area at all?
Why don't you come on up here?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
I think really what we're looking at is a continuum of our lifestyle. What happens at home leads to what then happens in your journey, which then takes you to your destination. And sometimes there are exasperating stress factors that come because you think you're going to be late or because you think you got to go somewhere else. And you delay doing certain things that need to be done either at home or somewhere before you get to your destination. And so what we are really looking at is a lifestyle option in this world, this digital world, where the automobile now has the credentials to participate and engage as a fully qualified citizen. So developers can develop applications that provide this value for continuity. So consumers can get the benefit of this continuity. And all of us can really see an effective, sustainable business model coming out of that.
Great, thanks.
Hi. Great presentation. My name is Mary Ellen Harrison. I'm the VP of Health ID for a company called Positive ID. We're the creators of iGlucose. I was very interested in the work that you're doing. Great. I understand the connectivity via Bluetooth with the CGM device, but wanted to ask, you mentioned glucometers, and I was curious how you're handling the connectivity or getting that type of data within your system.
From the health register.
Yeah. So this is for the glucometer?
System, you outlined, you had a picture of a glucometer, and I was curious how you're getting that data into the system you spoke about, or are you not?
Well, no,
it's just the CGM.
Well, I think
okay.
As far as we are concerned, the automobile sees a device that it can pair to.
Okay.
And so what happens in terms of how the data gets packaged and sent on that channel to the automobile is really left to our partner.
Okay, so the glucometer, so do you connect to glucometers today? Maybe that's a better way of phrasing my question.
So we would just connect to something that is a qualified device that speaks on a standard protocol. And so we wouldn't necessarily go with a specific device. So in this case, so we wouldn't be connecting and giving real-time feedback to the glucometer per se. We will be augmenting an alert or an alarm, if you will.
Okay, so my question was, how do you get the glucometer? The majority of the market-leading glucometers don't use Bluetooth. They use a cable. And
Yeah,
they
so I
connect in.
understand.
So that's
So-
what, my question was, are you
Yeah.
connecting to glucometers,
Well,
I
so
guess?
I think, so the answer
Okay.
really is that we're in an early experimental stage right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good reason why Bluetooth is not used for these devices.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a fantastic reason why we use Bluetooth in our cars, because we connect to consumer devices, right?
Got it,
So
yeah.
I think there's a research phase where we have to sit together and figure out what's the most pragmatic way of approaching this, so we don't compromise on privacy and security. We don't, at the same time, disappoint anyone in this business by draining something out of power or demanding too much from a mobile device. So I think these are questions that have to be answered, but we are on an aggressive path and committed to making sure that the solutions do reach us in a reasonably short time.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you. My name's Alan Kimura. I'm an ophthalmologist, and there's probably not a day that goes by when I'm approached by a son or a daughter about their elderly father or mother, the impaired driver. So I couldn't imagine a more impactful, human to technology relationship than driver car. So can you address kind of some high-level issues of privacy versus society?
Yeah, privacy is obviously a concern for us. Our philosophy is that people subscribe to health maintenance services, and they're willing to give that data out. We want to be a partner in the exchange for that data, obviously being cognizant of the security issues necessary for it. But you raise a very good point, because as we get older, we get into a situation where we may have elderly parents who are continuing to drive while we're still trying to take care of our children. So we're going in both directions. And the ability to share that information, have that information broadcast and sent to trusted partners is really critical as a peace of mind thing. So if you have an elderly parent who drives, it would be great to know that they're being monitored and that information is securely being shared across the cloud to you, so that you could get information about their well-being. Right? You wouldn't have to be checking up on them all the time, but you have this ability to do that while you're still worrying about your teenage kid who's driving the car and what he's doing with the vehicle. So we have these kind of issues, and I think this is a great opportunity to leverage connectivity, being mindful of the security issues that are prevalent with it, to make sure that we understand and can deal with these situations in a mindful way.
Gregory Bader from GracefulAging.tv. Your technology is great, and words are used to describe that technology, and it's so important for people to understand. I noticed in your presentation that you were using mobile health and mobile connected, and I wonder if that's by design and if that's in disagreement with digital health. How do you mix the mobile health use of that term with digital health?
You want to talk about it? Go ahead.
So this is perhaps a play of words, but let me sort of take a step back and look at all the beautiful digital devices we have at our disposal. Essentially, almost all of them are tuned. Excuse me. Almost all of them are tuned to 0 miles an hour. Your fabulous iPhone is a spectacular device, but it really shouldn't be used at even 5 miles an hour. You should be putting it away. So when we say mobile, we mean things that are really usable at driving speeds, whether it's 25 miles an hour down Main Street, or whether it's 70 miles an hour in the state of Michigan, where that's the speed limit. It should be usable by the driver, and yes, also applicable to the little child in the back or the elder adult you're caring for in the back. So the word mobile in this context really means in the context of high roadway speed mobility. It subsumes and it really takes into account all the digital aspects, attributes of what we mean by mobility. So yes, it's digital, but it's digital at 70 miles an hour, or digital at 25 miles an hour, not 0 miles an hour.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, this is an important point. The human-machine interface, the HMI, that we create for for communicating the information that these devices have is really critical because the driver is operating a vehicle at the time. And so we want to make sure that that information is delivered not only in a timely fashion, but in a way that doesn't add to the distraction that the driver has at the moment. And so that is a very important component of how we modify these systems, because as Prasad mentioned, the interface that you have when you're just holding your phone is great, but you can use your fingers and you can look at it for as long as you want. When you're in the car, we want to make sure that your hands are on the wheel and your eyes are on the road. And so any way that we give this information to you has to be done respectful of that situation. Thank you.
Hi, Jenny Ewing. I actually do marketing with a bunch of different types of industries and clients. And one of the things I was interested in is that you talked about the importance of still maintaining the doctor-patient relationship and that human touch. With the devices and things you've developed, how do you maintain that human touch without making it feel like it's just a colder technology project? And have you found that, is it audio, visual, what kind of makes people feel more connected to the device and feel like it's more of a human connection?
Well, certainly voice is a key component. If you use Sync or if you've used any sort of automated voice system, you start to believe that it's actually a person that you're talking to. I realize that today they're somewhat computerized, mechanical and sounding, but they're getting much, much better. In fact, if you've ever listened to the latest voice text-to-speech systems, you would be hard-pressed to tell whether that was a computer-generated system or it was an actual person. But we want to use voice as much as possible. Sync was built on the notion that voice is a key component because your hands and your eyes are focused on other things. Hands on driving the vehicle, eyes on watching the road and making sure what traffic is doing. So voice is a particularly important component. And we think that the more you can actually talk to the car and that it understands you, understands what your needs are, maybe even anticipates some of your needs, the more you'll get almost an emotional bond to the car, thinking that this is really concerned about my well-being. It is doing things for me. It is helping me, essentially a personal assistant for you.
Great. Thank you.
My name is Barry Lotion. I'm interested in learning more about the Medtronic CGM device that you are now, I guess you're in beta testing or you're in doing testing. The fact is that the CGM device uses interstitial fluid to assess the glucose that's in an individual. And there's a 20-second delay, or I'm sorry, 20-minute delay in terms of what that result is under CGM versus what the actual blood glucose is for that person. So if you're tracking the sugars that are 20 minutes old, when in fact that person may be either trending up at a very high rate or trending down, which is more risky, at a very high rate, where is this information going to alert the driver themselves, or is it going to a concerned individual? Let's say my father's diabetic and I want to know what's going on with him. Is it going to be sending texts and these sorts of communications to allow further interaction or intervention, for the individual who's having a low blood sugar event?
So I'll try to answer some of it and then Prasad can jump in, but understand that obviously these devices are in their infancy. They're just coming out and they will get better. So we anticipate that will evolve as our systems themselves evolve. We view our role is, in essence, being like a secondary display. So if you were wearing a CGM and you wanted to get a reading and you're driving, if it's wintertime and you're wearing a coat, you're not going to reach in there to try to take a look at what it's showing you. So you may not check at all. We don't want you to have to do that, to make that decision. What we would like to be able to do is to simply query the device and have it tell you what the reading is. It's not going to make an interpretation or a diagnosis. It's simply going to tell you what the device itself would tell you if you were to look at it. And that's really what we see this function is doing. A simple way for you to access information on devices that you bring in, regardless of how effective they are, to do it in a way that's safe for you to do while driving.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to follow up on this, and perhaps this sort of relates to several other questions. And also, it does give you an example of how we are working together in partnership. A lot of the questions you asked are specific to perhaps what the device manufacturer, in this case Medtronic, would be able to answer best. And I think from our perspective, what we are saying is there's a comparison we're making between not having an alert be amplified and having the alert be amplified when you're driving. And so that's the difference we're taking and making, and say that it does make sense to amplify the alert because we think you might miss it if the vehicle doesn't amplify it for you. And obviously, as Gary pointed out, these things are evolving, and so we wouldn't want to speak about exactly where the evolution is heading with respect to performance of those devices. The other aspect is that the primary reason why we're doing this is because we want to embrace the fact that your health can overall improve. Your wellness can overall improve by having these technologies and services be made available in the automobile. And one of the biggest factors of benefit, of clearly shown benefit, has to do with patient engagement, and I here can speak really well to that. I mean, there's really those performance numbers, and so this relates to the financial question that was asked before. If you're living longer, if you're healthier, you're going to live longer, you're going to have a better life overall. And so I think it's really around trying to enhance patient engagement through services, and engage the manufacturers, the best-in-class manufacturers of devices, so we can provide those kinds of services.
And I'd just like to take this opportunity to recognize Anand Iyer, from WellDoc, who's one of our partners in this effort.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Chris Burrow. I'm a physician and hospitalist. Thank you for committing yourselves as a major automobile company to the health and safety of individuals and to our population. With driving, aside from a falling blood glucose, you're as well aware of other medical risk, highway hypnosis, one might imagine cardiac arrhythmia. There are other domains, and I would invite you, I'm sure you're deep into this, could you share with us some other directions that may enhance not only the safety of the driver, but the safety of others on the road? These are two examples.
Right. So we are interested in looking at opportunities for other kinds of technologies, especially in the brought-in category, where a patient, for example, might be bringing in a heart monitoring device, and they would like to be able to access that and get information on it. We have to be somewhat careful here. We do not want the car to make predictions about what is or is not happening to the driver. We again want it to be, in essence, a dumb terminal, essentially replicating information that the devices that the patient may bring in with them is saying. We can't get into that. We're going to tell you what's actually happening because it's not our place to do it. It would be wrong for us to do it, and the person is operating a vehicle. But we would like to be able to access any additional devices that may be of concern for the driver or passengers. In fact, not just the driver, but the passengers inside the vehicle as well, to make sure that they can get a feel for their health condition while they're in the car. As we've mentioned before, we spend a huge amount of time in our vehicles, and we shouldn't feel like we're disconnected from our own health maintenance while we're inside that car. And that's really the goal here.